Liberal arts is now the buzzword.
The National Education Policy of 2020 actually endorses liberal arts.
Correct.
The ancient Indian schools like Takshashila, Nalanda,
Yes.
they all practice some form of liberal arts education. You can also sort of do a combination of courses which may look unconnected. The benefit is that you become more an all-rounded sort of personality.
How does that help the students to be job ready?
And I asked them, have they ever recruited anyone from a liberal arts university? Yes, they had recruited. And they said, we find a huge difference. Harvard president, Charles Eliot, he said, liberal arts actually teaches you a little bit about many things, but a lot about one thing.
Yeah.
I think that is where the vital difference is.
Yes.
There's no expiry date if you have these skills.
Yeah, of course. Hi everyone. Welcome to yet another episode of MetierTalks, your go-to podcast for insights on careers and education, straight from industry experts and academic leaders. I'm Jyoti, your host for today. Recently, I came across a quote that really stayed with me. The future belongs to those who connect ideas across disciplines. And it feels especially relevant today when many students and parents are beginning to rethink traditional career pathways. As a career counselor, I increasingly see families looking beyond options like medicine, engineering, and commerce and exploring more interdisciplinary choices. And that's where liberal arts education is slowly gaining attention in India. As education begins shifting from rote learning towards critical thinking and interdisciplinary learning, which brings us to the focus of today's conversation, that is liberal arts education, a topic many students and parents hear about but often don't really understand. To help us unpack this further, we are delighted to welcome our special guest, Professor C. Krishnan from Krea University. Professor Krishnan brings decades of experience in banking and finance and now contributes to higher education and student development at Krea University. In today's episode, we'll explore what liberal arts education really means, how it differs from conventional college education, career and postgraduate opportunities for liberal arts graduates, and how Krea University prepares students for future careers. So whether you are a student exploring options or parents trying to understand new education pathways, this conversation is for you. And before we move ahead, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you never miss any of the episodes. Hello, Professor. Welcome to MetierTalks. It's indeed an honor to have you in our show today. So before we begin our conversation any further, we would first like to understand your journey.
Thank you. Thank you, Jyoti, for this opportunity. So, I was a career banker for most of my life. So, post full-time career in banking, I was exploring avenues to keep myself professionally engaged. And IFMR, as it existed back then in 2014, provided that opportunity. So, when Krea came in and IFMR became part of Krea University, which was in 2018, I got associated not just as a faculty, but also as a senior administrator. So that's how it happened. So I would say the transition from banking to academia was probably accidental, but an accident which I'm very happy about because I'm enjoying my role currently.
Wow, that's so nice. And it's really, the kind of experience would be so beneficial for the students as an academia, right?
Yes, because I started teaching in the B school initially, but now I also engage myself with the third and fourth year School of Interwoven Arts and Science students, which is our undergraduate program, the liberal arts program. So the B school students, as you know, they're all looking for employment, and IFMR always had its strengths in banking and finance because of its legacy and because of the reputation that we have created in the market. So the B school students always wanted to get a practical perspective of what happens in the BFSI sector.
Correct.
And since I've worked in banking for many, many years and in the corporate world, so I bring that perspective.
Wow, that's excellent. So though liberal arts is now the buzzword in the education space, and also it has kind of got a footing in India, where a lot of parents are kind of aware of it, but not really knowing what it is. So if I have to explain what is liberal arts, How will you?
It's interesting that you said that it's got a footing. I believe it's got more than a footing now.
Okay.
Because we've been around for about 8 years now. But then you had Ashoka before us.
Correct.
So liberal arts, while it's relatively new, as I agree with you, it's relatively new in India, but it's actually not new at all. If you look at in the US, for example, the world's oldest liberal arts university is about 223 years old.
Correct.
And we have many other universities in the US which are over 150, 175 years. So it's a new concept in India because we've been so used to the conventional, the traditional humanities and science courses. The other thing that a lot of parents and students ask is it only arts? Because we keep saying liberal arts.
I was about to ask you.
Actually, it is both liberal arts and sciences. I think it's just that it's convenient to say liberal arts, but it actually includes arts and sciences.
Correct.
So it is catching up in a big way. And the most important thing is that while universities like us thought about this kind of pedagogical approach, the liberal arts curriculum, the liberal arts way of imparting education, the National Education Policy of 2020 actually endorses liberal arts.
Correct.
And they also talk about the ancient Indian schools like the Gurukul way of teaching, then Takshashila, Nalanda.
Yes.
They all practice some form of liberal arts education. So that way you can say that it's not very new, but somewhere between those days and later, maybe there was a bit of a gap. But I'm very happy that liberal arts education is getting the focus that it deserves. And because of the NEP 2020, I think most universities, including the ones who are, offering the traditional BA and BSc courses, will probably adopt that methodology.
Yes. Yeah. So I was about to ask you actually, how is a liberal arts college different from a conventional college?
The difference between a conventional 3-year or 4-year BA BSc course and a liberal arts course, there are several differences actually. For one, to start with, if you have taken the art stream in your 12th, then BCom or BBA or maybe a BA economics or something. But if you are from a science stream, then you do your physics and maths and chemistry and all that. Now, liberal arts, there's no such thing at all. You could be from an art stream or a science stream, but opt for something which is completely different.
Yes.
So that is one straight difference. The second thing is that you can also sort of do a combination of courses which may look unconnected. For example, somebody wants to major in physics. Now that will be a BSc physics degree.
Correct.
But you could take as a minor, as we call it in Krea, a subject like literature or fine arts.
Wow.
Or maybe psychology.
Right.
Because there is a connection between the two.
Correct.
And that part is something which I can explain a little later.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. This is very insightful, not only for me, but also for the parents, I'm sure. And what kind of thinking or what kind of skills get developed when a student who's pursuing a liberal arts program?
So for one, as I said, the traditional course, if I have to compare with that, is unidimensional in the sense that, you do physics or a literature or a maths. The focus is on that subject. So you specialize in that. Whereas in a liberal arts curriculum, you get exposure to all subjects.
Correct.
So the difference therefore is before you actually decide to major in a particular subject. Now, what is the benefit of that? The benefit is that you become more an all-rounded sort of, personality. You're able to sort of have a conversation not only in the subject that you're majoring, but you have a good awareness of various other, fields. Now, a question that gets typically asked is, what is literature got to do with somebody who is doing a physics?
Correct.
Quite a bit, because literature and all that teaches the art side of things or the humanities and the blend of science and arts. And that's where the interdisciplinary approach or interwovenness comes in.
Correct.
So interwovenness in today's world is vitally important,
Right.
because between humans and machines, between arts and sciences, between Eastern and Western philosophies. So all these really give you a breadth of education, not just the depth. So just to quote, for example, the longest serving Harvard president, Charles Eliot, he said liberal arts actually teaches you a little bit about many things, but a lot about one thing.
Yeah.
I think that is where the vital difference is.
Yes, exactly. And so it gives a proper, a very holistic approach.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
And how does that approach help? How does that help the students to be job ready?
I've had the opportunity to speak to prospective employers in major companies in India, and this was when the university was set up. And I asked them, have they ever recruited anyone from a liberal arts university? And they said they did, because prior to us, at the time I had this conversation, a batch hadn't passed out of Krea, but other universities who started before us, yes, they had recruited. And they said we find a huge difference in their approach, the level of confidence that they show, their problem solving skills, their ability to communicate effectively, and put them in a spot, a crisis, how they react to it.
Wow.
Their ability to sort of think differently, think out of the box, and the leadership qualities that they show. So many employers now, in fact, we have one, they're in actually the finance space. They're into investments. And the CEO of that company, whom I know reasonably well, he says, I've always asked him, why don't you recruit our B school students? He said, no, I would prefer your liberal arts students.
Is it?
And he says, I can train them in finance and investments, but the skills that they bring to the table, can't be matched by students who come from other streams.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's great. So I was actually about to ask you the same question. Like if a student is passing out from a B school versus a student who does finance and passes out from Krea or liberal arts education, how are they different? So I think you have answered.
So there's also another difference, and that is the B school prepares them differently. So the B school students try and get into corporates primarily, and they're looking for jobs in the banking sector, financial sector, manufacturing sector, and all that. Whereas the undergraduate students, they may have different options, not just these.
Correct.
They can go to startups, they can go to NGOs, they can go into think tanks, they can do research. So I would say the options that are available to them are probably wider.
Right. Great. Yeah. So thank you so much for this. Professor, bringing the conversation specifically to Krea.
Yep.
How does Krea University put liberal arts education into practice through its interdisciplinary approach?
So one of the USPs of Krea, and when we started this, we said interwoven learning. And we also said, learning how to learn.
That's how your logo also says.
Yes. In fact, the logo and the name Krea itself, a lot of people asked initially, is Krea an acronym? So the answer is no, it's actually creativity in action.
Oh.
And that's in Sanskrit, creativity in action. So when we started, we said interwoven learning. It'll be a new paradigm for higher education, and essentially to prepare students to face the complex challenges of the 21st century. Now we all know that 21st century has come with a completely different set of challenges, which probably we had not seen in the decades before that. And one of the main reasons for that, of course, is technological developments. The way technology has influenced various sort of areas, not just banking and finance, but also manufacturing or any other sector you take. So our objective in Krea is to prepare students to be able to handle these challenges of the 21st century more effectively than maybe their counterparts in traditional universities.
Correct.
So, number one, for example, in the first year, irrespective of whether a student has chosen economics or psychology or physics or chemistry as a major, because many students, they have already decided that.
Yeah.
But when they come in, every one of them goes through 1 year of what we might call it a shopping period, where they're exposed to all the subjects.
Right. Okay.
And who knows, some of them might actually change streams because they find a subject that they were not so aware of being more interesting, or the faculty was so good that they decided to switch from, say, an economics major that they had in mind initially to maybe a physics or a biology or a computer science major. So that's one thing that we do. The second part, of course, is the interwovenness between two subjects.
Right.
The third one is the flexibility that we offer. So a student, for example, may have taken a major but is not particularly happy or has decided to change his or her mind. That student has the option to switch.
Okay.
Now that
That's in the
flexibility,
first, which
even
year?
in the second year.
Okay.
So they have that option, subject to, of course, a few conditions, which the dean and the faculty will prescribe. But yes, we offer flexibility.
Okay.
So there is also this thing of a major minor combination.
Right.
We offer almost about 16 or 17 majors and then an equal number of minors. So the combination could be as diverse as, for example, I said earlier, physics and literature, or computer science and, let's say, psychology, or biological sciences and maybe arts.
My God, this is something so different.
It's
and
unique. It's unique
yeah.
and really goes towards developing an all-rounded personality. And I think it's important because the challenges of this century are quite unique. So to be able to sort of adapt, to sort of stay relevant, resilient, I think these skills are very important.
Absolutely.
So one of the things we say is that, there's no expiry date if you have these skills.
Of course, yes, certainly. Now, one big question students and parents normally are worried about is about the careers. So, what kind of career pathways or postgraduate opportunities open up for students who are pursuing an undergrad program or a postgraduate program? We would like to know a little
So
about
at the
that.
moment, in the liberal arts, we have only an undergraduate program. But starting July this year, we are launching our first postgraduate program,
Oh, awesome.
an MSc in clinical psychology.
Wow.
So if you look at the number of batches that have passed out so far and what they have done, what we see is a percentage of them, really maybe 25% of them take up employment. But the majority would prefer to do a postgraduate program.
Yeah.
And that postgraduate program could be in India or outside
abroad,
India.
yeah.
In fact, many have gone abroad to pursue higher education.
Right.
So the opportunities that they have got so far are from different sectors, the different kinds of jobs. They've gone into consulting, they've gone into manufacturing, they've gone into, finance, NGOs, think tanks. So it's been a variety. And the kind of roles that they do also are quite different in the sense that, not just the simple data analyst or roles like that, but something, much more sort of, in line with what they have learned.
Oh, that's nice. So if I want to just clarify here, supposing a student does a major in psychology and a minor in computer science. So in that case, if they want to get into a postgraduate program, what would be there? I mean, should they take a career, do a master's in only psychology, or it opens up for both majors and minors?
It opens up for both because they already have a flavor of the minor, which could be, as I said, a completely unrelated subject. But most of them would actually pursue something, as a postgraduate course in the major. I think that's the whole idea.
Right.
Incidentally, we also have another combination, which is called a double major.
Okay.
And for those who are willing to put in the hard work, because a double major means, you need to have a lot more credits and you need to concentrate and work much harder. So it could be economics and finance.
Okay.
Or it could be sort of, two completely unrelated majors, but they are good at that.
That is in addition to your minor.
That's in addition to the minor.
Okay.
So that means you're putting in extra work. So then it opens up their post-graduation options in either of the two majors.
Wow, that's fantastic. So then is it different from honors?
So now that brings me to what UGC allowed when universities like Krea started, and that is they allowed only a 3-year degree program, and we were giving a 3-year BA or BSc honors. Now, as you know, US universities ask for a 12 plus 4 requirement, which means 4 years of undergraduation. So we had to forcibly offer a 3+1. And that one is diploma in the 4th year where you do capstone projects and all that.
Okay.
But you have done 4 years, and that was good enough to apply for post-graduation courses in the US. Now, couple of years ago, UGC permitted universities to offer 4-year programs. And now what happens is if you join, you actually are enrolled for a 4-year honors course. But if you wish, you can opt out at the end of 3rd year with a degree, not an honors degree.
Honors degree. Okay. All right. That's a great news. And I think this is really insightful for parents. So before we close, what advice would you give to the students and the parents who are considering liberal arts program?
Well, if they're already considering liberal arts program, I think they've taken a good decision. But if they are still debating whether to send their children to the traditional course, humanities or science course, I would say the honest advice is please opt for liberal arts. 2 reasons for that. One, even the NEP 2020 endorses that.
Correct.
So that's going to be the way forward. So one has to think ahead rather than, think more traditionally. Number 2, as I've already said, liberal arts really sort of ensures that the child becomes an all-rounded personality. The child gets all-round education, not just a degree. So I've always differentiated between passing out of a college with a degree and passing out of a college with a degree and education.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, education is what? Education is to know a lot about everything around us. Obviously, you'll not specialize in everything. Now, if, for example, I'm a banker, I need to know banking, of course, but what else do I know? Can I hold a conversation on something which is unrelated to banking?
Correct.
That is what is real education. So from that perspective, and also from the point of view of surviving in a world which is going to offer more and more challenges, surviving in a world where there is always this threat of artificial intelligence. Is it going to take away your jobs? So if you are adaptable, you're able to sort of, be resilient and bring in skills which the traditional courses don't, then there's no other choice but to go in for liberal arts.
Correct. I completely agree on this because I see where some engineering, a lot of freshers who just passed out from engineering, they lack the communication skills, but communication, creative skills, or maybe, co-working. So I see that, this is something which stands out with liberal arts students.
So that's the other point. I'm glad you brought that up because, as I said, in the first year, we expose the students to a whole lot of subjects. But the most important thing is what we call core and skill courses. So we teach the students, the core subjects and exposure to various subjects and the skills. And one of the most important skills, which is unfortunately, disappearing slowly, is writing and communication skills.
I agree on that.
It's vitally important. And we have a full-fledged, Center for Writing and Pedagogy, which imparts these skills. One might have actually, for example, as I said, physics. You have the idea and you have the concept. Do you know how to articulate it? And that is where the liberal arts part comes in.
Correct.
If you know, and that's why very, very important. I find a lot of students extremely good technically, but they're unable to sort of, articulate that thought.
Correct.
And that's where this
liberal arts,
the writing, communication skills come in very, very important.
Absolutely agree on that. And I am a little intrigued to know about your psychological labs.
Psychology lab, typically labs are available not so much to the undergraduate students, but this lab is available to the undergraduates as well.
Okay.
And they do a lot of research over there. In fact, one of our psychology students, she's just got a scholarship to go to British Columbia University to do a course which I didn't realize related to infants. and she's doing some research on that, So that is all something which she picked up in the psychology lab.
Oh.
So I don't know whether too many universities have a psychology lab
No,
at
I
all.
don't. That's a very unique thing.
It is
And-
unique, yeah.
Yeah.
Also, it is a fact that psychology and economics are the most sought after
Absolutely.
majors.
Yes,
Not
yes.
just in Krea, I think it's also in other
Yes, yes.
universities.
Yeah.
But what is interesting about psychology is that psychology is now a subject which definitely connects with various other subjects.
It is a subject which can be connected, absolutely interdisciplinary subject.
Right. For example, I've been a lending banker for many, many years, corporate banking. Now, also we look at things like behavioral pattern of people who are repaying loans. Now, when you do the analysis of that, if you understand the psychology of the individual who is your customer, it helps a lot to monitor the repayments much more effectively.
Correct.
And again, we teach a subject called consumer behavior.
Yes.
We teach a subject which is called behavioral economics.
Yes.
So in all these, psychology plays a part.
Very important role. Yes, yes. Marketing with psychology.
So, that's the big difference between the erstwhile siloed approach to
Yes.
education and the interwovenness, because there is a big connect between subjects.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So thank you, Professor, for sharing these valuable insights with us today. And to our listeners, if you are exploring higher education options and want a future-ready learning experiences, understanding liberal arts education could open up exciting possibilities. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon for more insightful conversations on careers and education. You can follow Metier Hunt on Facebook and Instagram. And if you have any questions, drop them in the comments and we'd love to hear it from you. Remember, when learning is driven by curiosity, success follows naturally. Thank you for joining us on MetierTalks. See you again in the next episode.